All right, hello, welcome back to the stream. Let's see, do I need this? No. Okay. Yeah, so today, just continuing on, making some gun-forged stuff. What are we going to do today? Let's find out. So, one of the problems is the gun scrambler, which is an event that can appear in between the waves. The gun scrambler is not that great because it basically just purely randomizes your guns. So what I want to do is I want to make it so that it's guaranteed to create a better gun for you. And then the follow-up that I want to do is I want to do this madness upgrade. The gun scrambler has a 50% chance to give you a completed weapon set. So that's what I want to do today, and then I might also get to some of this other stuff. I'm trying to think of more madness upgrades that I can add, and for context, the madness upgrades are upgrade nodes or meta upgrade nodes that I'm adding to this tree that require certain madness levels to be available. So here, I've got little squiggly red lines here. Those indicate that those are madness unlocks. So you can see that this one requires madness tier 5. This one requires madness tier 3. These ones are unlocked, so I can grab those if I want. So yeah, but I want to add one for the gun scrambler. So the scrambled eggs over here, probably put one right there. And that will make the gun scrambler guaranteed, or not guaranteed, have a 50% chance to give you a completed weapon set. So I think that that's going to be an interesting upgrade. And but first I'm gonna tackle making the gun scrambler just better generally. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Hello, Hori Portier. That name is so fun to say. Welcome back. Hello, Metaphorical Code. Great to see you again. So let me go to my gun scrambler. So this is going to be a little bit interesting because, so like I said, the gun barrel here, pick gun barrel, pick props. Okay. So in order to make this gun scrambler just better, generally speaking, what I probably want to do is, let me think. So obviously when I pick the gun barrel should be greater than or equal to the current barrel in terms of its damage. So I'm probably going to need to modify this pick part props to have something like a public float minimum DPS or something. And we'll go ahead and make this nullable, just so that I know whether that's provided or not. And in the pick part props, I'm going to need to do this for each different part now. Pick gun barrel, pick prop. So I'm going to need to break this down more. And let me think. Gun manager, add gun part resource. So slot. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to need to get the current part resources. So var current gun part resources here, and we're going to say gun manager dot get gun parts part resources for the selected slot. So that's going to give me those resources. I think what I'll do is I'll just do for each var part in, well, no. I'll just write it all out. Current barrel is equal to current gun part resources dot first or default X. X is gun barrel resource. Current receiver. Gun receiver resource. Current magazine. Gun is magazine. Whoops. Gun magazine resource. I don't know where my mind is at today. Hello, Silvertone. Welcome, welcome. Great to see you again. Okay, so now these pick props, I'm going to need to do something different. So I'm going to do barrel pick props is equal to, we're going to do minimum DPS is equal to current barrel dot bullet damage contribution times current barrel dot let me think for a second here. Let me think for a second. Hold on, I gotta figure out if my math is gonna be correct here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just making sure that that my breaking down of this DPS value is going to work. Otherwise, that would be very bad if it didn't. Yeah, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Oh wait, no, it's not. Hold on. Okay. Shoot, I don't know if this is gonna work. So I don't think I can break the DPS down into parts like this. Damage contribution, fire rate. And the reason is because when those get all multiplied out, so these get all added together. So this damage contribution here, gun stats, or unless I'm just doing my math wrong. So the stats damage becomes the resource damage contribution. So all of those get added up, and then all of the fire rates get added up. Bullets per second get added up. And then the DPS is calculated from that. So damage per second. So I'm just thinking, like, if I have a 1 damage bullet that fires 1 bullet per second, that's 1 DPS. If I have a part like that, but then if I have a part that's, let's say, 2 damage and 2 bullets per second, that's 4 DPS. So that's the individual 1 DPS and 4 DPS part. But if I were to add them up first, so that would be 5 DPS total, right? If you were to just add those. But if you add up the components and you say, well, there's 3 damage times 2, yeah, that's a different number. So because they end up getting added together first and then multiplied, the DPS value is going to change. So I can't just, I mean, I guess I could still use this minimum DPS. It's just not going to be an exact number. Like, as long as I'm using the minimum DPS to determine that either the fire rate or the bullet damage needs to be higher, then that should result in an overall increased DPS for the entire gun, even though, like, the numbers aren't going to be exact. Like, this is not, you can't break it down this way. So I think that's probably okay. Damage contribution times bullets per second contribution. So that's my minimum DPS in that barrel pick props. And then I'm just going to do the same thing for the receiver and the magazine. Receiver pick props, magazine pick props. Bam. And then we're going to do current receiver. Current receiver. Oh, I can't have those. Current magazine. Current magazine. Okay, and then we can do barrel pick props, receiver pick props, and magazine pick props. Okay, so those are going to go into these methods here, into this randomize method. That's going to pass along the pick props, which randomizer parameters. So I have this now. Public float minimum DPS. We'll make this nullable as well. Okay, so minimum DPS is equal to pick part props dot minimum DPS. Okay, so now it should just be a matter of doing the math to make sure that the DPS ends up being larger than this number. So we're going to randomize here. This is where all of these DPS values are calculated. So let me think. Bullets per second. This is complicated by all this math stuff that I'm doing down here too. So I was originally planning on taking that minimum DPS value, and what was I thinking about doing? Basically, I would choose a random fire rate first, which is happening where? Here. So choose a random fire rate first, and then determine what is the minimum bullet damage per shot needed to meet that minimum DPS value. So we just choose one value first so that you can derive the other value to make sure it meets that minimum DPS value. The problem is that this bullets per second, so that is being determined here. So this is the fire rate, but down here we got this damage percent bias, damage contribution. So what I could do is I could say, I could still randomize the damage contribution like I'm doing here, but then I can just do a minimum value in here. I think I have to do that after the scale value though. So after the part is scaled, then what I can do in here is I can say, okay, if pick part, or let's say parameters dot minimum DPS is not equal to null, then in here, what I'm going to say is var target bullet damage is equal to, let's see, this is going to be resource dot damage contribution times resource dot bullets per second contribution divided by, wait, am I thinking about this wrong? Minimum DPS. Oh, I need to take the parameters minimum DPS and divide it by the, yeah, parameters dot minimum DPS divided by the resource dot bullets per second contribution. So that's going to give me the minimum bullet damage. Is that right? I feel like my brain isn't working today. Minimum bullet damage. So if DPS divided by resource per second, yeah, that gives me the bullet damage. Okay. I should actually call this minimum damage contribution to be more specific. Okay, and then in here I could say resource dot damage contribution is equal to mathf dot max, the maximum of the minimum damage contribution and the current damage contribution. So it's going to take whichever number is greater. What did I do wrong here? Oh, this needs to be... Wait, why is this... Oh, dot value. Okay. Cool. So that's just going to adjust this bullet damage contribution value to, again, make sure that it's meeting that minimum damage contribution if the minimum DPS is provided. And it's going to choose between the larger of the two. So choose the minimum damage contribution or the current damage contribution if that's higher. And that should work. So now I can go to my gun scrambler here. And so now I'm setting a minimum DPS. So basically, when the gun scrambler scrambles your guns, it's going to make sure each part has a minimum DPS of your current existing parts. So in other words, its damage can only go up. I wonder if I should do the same for the affix slots. I probably should, right? Should I? I shouldn't. Yeah, might as well. I mean, the reason I'm buffing this gun scrambler is because the gun scrambler becomes a very unattractive choice later in game because it's just purely randomizing your gun. So that means that you could have a gun with 3 affix slots, and let's say that you have a gun with low DPS but it's got 3 affix slots. Well, you might get a gun that has a higher DPS but no affix or rune slots, right? So my goal is that, you know, the randomness is kind of like risk enough, right? Because you might end up with innate runes that aren't that good, or you might end up with just a fire rate that's not that great, you know, or a range or whatever. So I think just purely buffing the numbers is probably a good idea. So current barrel dot. Oh, do I not have affix slots? Here we go. Yeah, so I'm just going to set this minimum affixes to this and make sure that each part keeps its number of affix slots as well. I think that's going to be a great change. So yeah, hopefully this gun scrambler then becomes just a lot more appealing to use, especially at later levels. And let me just make sure that these things are being passed along here. Minimum affixes. I think that this is working. Let's see. Pick affix count, minimum affixes. Yeah. So it's doing the same thing here. It's minimizing that. So you're not going to lose affixes and you're not going to lose DPS. So now the gun scrambler it's still risky because it's going to you know, change up your build a little bit, but it should be a lot more attractive now. Just make sure I did all these references correctly here. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and give that a test and make sure that this works. Random encounter handler component. Where's the gun scrambler? Here it is. Don't you love that testing? Oh, is that too big of a number? Okay. We'll take it off. There's 0 off there. So that's that. And then I'm going to do one other thing, which is that I'm going to take this upgrade that allows me to use the gun scrambler several times just for testing purposes. So here, scrambled eggs, bam. So now we've got that. Why is that not? Oh, it is. Okay. So now I'm going to go to my dungeon level, my dungeon arena here. Debug mode on. And now we're going to test it. I should really add a debug like command for spawning these things, but we'll just go through this. All right, so let's see. 17.6 DPS and no rune slots. So let's go ahead and scramble that. Bam. 45.3 DPS, 2 rune slots. So 45.3 and then 2. 61.9 and 3. And 62.6 and 4. Yeah. So that is that's just increasing considerably. So this is actually also going to be interesting because let's say that you've got a gun that's like maxed out on rune slots and maxed out on DPS, like you're guaranteed to, almost guaranteed to get a better weapon. So like it actually does become somewhat attractive to put a really powerful gun in the gun scrambler, especially if you don't have, if the gun is really powerful but your innate affixes are bad, then you can throw it in the gun scrambler. That's going to give you new innate affixes without damaging the performance of the gun necessarily. So I think that's much nicer. Now the problem here is that I need to communicate to the player in some way that this is what the gun scrambler is doing, that the gun scrambler is guaranteed to give you a better gun. The problem is I don't know where to put that. That's the kind of last thing that I need to address here. Hello, Neozoid, welcome back. Hello, Adaton, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Scramble gun. Hello, Splat, welcome back to the stream. Great to see you. How am I going to communicate that this gun scrambler gives you a guaranteed better gun? I mean, there's an empty space here that I could use, but I'm not so sure that I want to do that. Choose a gun. I mean, I could just put like a little tooltip here, but there's so much on this screen already. Improve a gun. Yeah, I was thinking about that, but it also needs to communicate that the gun parts are going to be randomized, right? So improve might imply that it's just going to use your existing gun parts and buff them, but that's not what it does. It randomizes and improves. Randomizes and improves. I mean, I've got some room in this text, so maybe I can come up with gotcha gun. I don't know what that means. Oh, is that just like a loot box kind of game? Let me think. Well, if I go to my gun scrambler, Hello, Perseverance. Welcome back. So I could change this text here. Maybe like scramble. The little machines primarily in Japan where you get little toys that are random. I gotcha. Okay. I gotcha. So, yeah. So that's kind of, yeah, I mean, that's a good word for it, but would be very out of place in the game, I suppose. Scramble gun. I mean, I could do something like scramble and improve. Scramble and buff gun. Scramble and buff a gun. Is that good? Does that kind of communicate what it's doing? So I have to use the word scramble because there are meta upgrades that refer to the gun scrambler. So I need to make those connections between those two words. So I have to keep the word scramble in there so that players know, oh, this is the gun scrambler, right? But scramble and buff a gun, right? Scramble gun, trust me, it's good. That's funny. Super scramble. That's an interesting idea. Scramble doesn't sound like a word anymore. Hello, Sable Spirit Studio. Welcome back. Please create a Halloween face. First of all, welcome back, Dione. With zombies and Pumpkinhead with Halloween vibes. I love it. Yeah. I mean, if Gunforge does really well, I might end up adding Halloween events or holiday events because, like, I always liked in Terraria when, you know, right around the time of like Christmas and Halloween, Terraria would have those events, like those automated events that just happen based on your system time. I always thought that was a really neat idea. But, you know, there's a lot I can do with this game. I actually, there's a couple of YouTubers that have already played the game, smaller channels, and good news is that the initial feedback from both the people playing the game and from the commenters is positive. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm still waiting to see if any bigger channels play it, but let me see. Yeah, there is one other person that's gonna play it. I don't remember how big that channel is, though. I'm kind of going off on a tangent now, but... yeah, somebody with almost 20,000 subscribers is gonna play it tomorrow, so that's good. Anyway, so getting some coverage of the game already, and it's positive. I don't know why I went on that tangent, but I just wanted to share. Do you have a video on your project management workflow for this game? I do not. Welcome back, Sins, or welcome to the stream. I don't think you've been in the chat before, or at least I don't remember. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do a video like that. I mean, my project management is not that sophisticated. This board is basically just a dumping ground. Most of these like lanes are just kind of just garbage. They're just, you know, they're sorted, but they're not, there's nothing sophisticated about it. Really, the most important things are like the backlog, the to-do, the in progress, and the done. These are the most important ones. Where to-do is the stuff that I am guaranteed to do, that I've decided I am going to do. Backlog is stuff that I want to do, but I kind of move stuff in and out of the backlog. And then all this other stuff is just like notes, basically. And then the done column, of course, this is helpful for doing things like devlogs or writing patch notes, because then I can just scroll through the list and I can see, okay, this done column is all the things that have been done since the last release or the last devlog. And so I can just scroll through this and have a good list of things that have all changed, so I don't need to sort of like try to remember what everything has changed, you know? With so many complicated PM tools and workflows, a lot of people looking for simpler solutions. Yeah, it doesn't get much simpler than this. I mean, it's just a Kanban board, and it's not cloud enabled or anything. It just saves right on your hard drive. So yeah, I like it. Is this the Kanban plugin? Down to give it a go. Yep, that's exactly right. Yep. You gonna buy any ads for the game? Might be worth it on X or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to, I mean, we'll see. I might, it depends on how the YouTube coverage ends up going. I reached out, I emailed like 50 people yesterday, 50 YouTubers with review keys. And so it kind of depends. It all depends on like, if a sizable chunk of those people actually end up covering the game, then I probably won't even need a marketing budget, really. I mean, the goal is basically like, get the viewers of those videos to go to the Steam page and wishlist it. And then once Steam sees that there's a lot of wishlist velocity, Steam will list my game higher up in the popular upcoming for roguelikes, right? Which is going to drive even more wishlists. So it's like the YouTubers is all about getting that snowball rolling. But once that snowball is rolling, that momentum should carry it through to release day. And so, but if like not a lot of YouTubers choose to pick up the game, then I'm thinking about, I have like contingency plans for dealing with that situation. One such contingency is just like throwing together a video next week that's designed to like be quote unquote viral. And what I mean by that is just like make it something that fits in with the current trending like indie devlogs, right? And then, you know, something like catchy, like after 4 years, my indie game is finally done or something like that. And then just make like a super quick 5 to 10 minute video on my channel, release it sometime next week, and hopefully that can generate some things. And then of course I can also consider purchasing ads. So I've got a bunch of contingencies lined up. So I'm going to see how it goes through this weekend and into next week. And then I'll evaluate from there what I should be doing. But my Gunforged is on the second page of the popular upcoming for roguelikes, and it's still 2 weeks out, so most of the first page is games that are coming out roguelikes within the next week. So I'm hoping by like a week out from release, it'll be on that first page of popular upcoming roguelikes. And if that happens, then like that's going to be great. So we'll see. What happens after Gunforged release? Are you going to jump immediately on creating a new one? What plans do you have? Hope more tutorials will come. Yeah, so tutorials, I definitely want to make more YouTube content. I need to do some work on my Udemy courses. I've been dying to update my older courses, like the platformer course and the Vampire Survivors course, because those are getting a little bit outdated. I mean, the platformer course especially, but so I want to do that. But if Gunforged is doing really well, like one of the #1 demands is for controller support, so I'll probably spend some time doing that. I would love to keep developing content for Gunforged if people are really liking it. You know, if players are beating the game and then their major point of feedback is we want more content, then I'm definitely going to consider doing that. So it all depends. It's all up in the air. I can't make any solid plans for the future right now because I just don't, like, it all hinges on how Gunforged does, you know? So I kind of have to wait and see. Hello, Nepal V. Welcome back. Great goal. I will definitely play your game. It's already on my wish list. Thank you. I've read Chris Zukowski on game marketing, and they claim that statistically only 1 from 30 YouTubers or so actually play the game. From 30 of those of dev reaches. Yeah, I wonder. So the problem with statistics is like they're just generalizations, right? What I did is I made an effort to target YouTubers that have played similar games. So, like 2D indie roguelikes. So I wonder if the more targeted nature increases that statistically. Also, the problem with statistics is like, what is the quality of the games that are being advertised? What, like, are these like any game from any quality level, from absolute garbage to like pinnacle, peak indie perfection? Like, is it just lumping all of those together? You know? So the problem with statistics is that they're just not, it sounds good or that sounds interesting at surface, but like, what does the data actually look like, you know? But as a general rule, that would make sense. If actually I'd be in trouble if that was the case, because I've emailed like 75 people and 2 have played it. So I'm like already at that 1 in 30 cap. But again, I think it depends on like, if you're reaching out to somebody that only plays 3D first person shooter games with a 2D indie roguelike, well, obviously they're not going to play it. So like, does that count in the statistic, right? Makes sense to publish on Reddit, Discord. Yeah, I will be making some Reddit posts, I think. I don't know if paying for advertisement on Reddit is a good idea, but we'll see. How good do you think the game is? What are playtesters saying? I think it's great. I mean, I think Adaton's in the chat. Adaton has played several hours of the game. which Adaton, if for those who are unaware, is one of my IRL friends. We've actually done a couple of game jams together, the devlogs of which are on this channel. And he's already played it for several hours. So I think that's a good sign, because usually when you reach out to your friends and your game is bad, they'll just go, oh, that's nice, and they'll never play it again. So the fact that Adaton has actually been desiring to play it is a great sign. I've been looking at the comments on the videos that are published. The people are saying this looks fun, or this like reminds me of Magic Craft, or the people that are showcasing the game have had a lot of fun with it. Actually, one of the videos that was just published, I think this morning, it was a 40-minute gameplay video, and then at the end, the guy who was playing it said, yeah, I think I'm going to keep playing this game, like meaning that he's going to create more videos of the game for his channel. So like the fact that he played for 40 minutes, showed it off for his channel, and then said, I'm going to play more of it, is a great signal as well. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I think the game is definitely going to be worth what I'm going to charge for it at release, especially with the launch discount. And I think that I would expect that most people who like these kinds of games are going to get at least 5 to 10 hours of enjoyment out of it. And for people that are completionists, that might approach closer to like 20 hours. So that's my hunch. That's kind of what I'm seeing. So yeah, we'll see. That's all hunch though. I don't have any very good data for that. Yeah, the other sort of dirty secret is that a lot of these YouTubers that reach, especially YouTubers that are approaching like 100,000 subscribers, I've already had this happen a couple times. I reach out to them, I say, here's your Steam key, and they say, oh, great, it looks awesome. By the way, if you want like priority feature, you can pay us $100, right? Or if you want us to do a 30-minute video, you can pay us $450. So the sort of dirty secret is that a lot of these indie game channels, especially as they get larger, all of the games that are played are actually just paid placements, which I might do if I find a particularly attractive channel that has the right audience and the right view counts, and they say, hey, pay me $300 to do a 30-minute video, I might consider that. But yeah, not just YouTubers, right? Twitch as well. Yeah, the problem is a lot of Twitch people don't put their contact information anywhere. So like I don't have any way of emailing them a key. I might just have to DM them on like X or something. Hello, Blackberry Pie, welcome. Great to see you. Which Obsidian plugin is this? This is Obsidian Kanban. It's a blast, thank you. What is the font of Gunforge? Is it free to use? It looks nice. It is called, and there's two fonts that I'm using. What is it called? Sorry, let me figure out where that actually is. Font. Is it Blue Sky? I think it's Blue Sky. Blue Sky and Skullboy. These are from an author called Chevy Ray. Chevy Ray's Pixel Fonts. I actually don't know if Skullboy is available anymore. I got this a while ago and I tried to find it again and I can't. But yeah, I don't know if they're free. Chevy Ray, Chevy, Ray, R-A-Y, on itch.io has a bunch of font packs though, and I think most of them are paid. So, but they're relatively cheap. So finding good pixel fonts is relatively hard to do, so I'm more than happy to pay, you know, $5 or $10 for a pixel font pack. And plus, like, they're just, I mean, you just get a perpetual license, so you just build up a library of 30 pixel fonts, and then you're basically set for life for all the pixel games you'd ever want to make. Okay, anyway, so scramble and buff a gun. I think that's going to be fine. It really annoys me that those are not outlined, but whatever. Okay, let me just do this real quick, and then we'll move on, because I think I'm done with this gun scrambler guarantee. Scramble and buff a gun. Oh, there is one other thing I want to do here. Perfect. So there's one other thing that I want to do, which I'm actually going to commit this first. Random encounter, we don't want to do that. Yeah, let's get rid of this. Don't want to accidentally commit that. I need to come up with better debug tools for that, because one of these days I'm going to accidentally commit a change that was for testing purposes, and then it's going to break the release version. That is going to happen someday if I don't have a safer way of testing it, so should probably handle that sooner rather than later. Okay, so that's great. So the other thing that I want to do real quick, I don't know how quick is this is going to be, but if I go to my dual part selection UI, I want to, I don't like how these are lockstep. Left chain panel animator component. Left sway. Oh, right. Oh, this is why. Okay. So these are happening in lockstep in terms of their animation out, because, yeah. Okay. So they're all part of like one animation group, I guess you could call it. So what I actually need to do, oh man, this is going to be tough. Okay, well, we're about to break things, but that's all right. So we're going to move this up here. Okay, that actually seems to have worked. So pass-through control, left, I'm just going to call this left sway 2. So I just needed to break those up. And then this left chain panel animator component, we're going to get rid of these two. Oh, goodness. Just make sure that these are assigned properly. I'm just going to call this left 2 chain panel animator component. And then it's going to be left sway 2, left drop 2, and then the markers for these. Okay, and then I got to do the same for the right. Okay, so this HBox container goes up there. This right sway goes underneath. The panel container goes underneath that. And then I need to create pass-through control, right sway 2. Oh, wait, I did this wrong. Did I do this wrong? Pass-through control here, right sway 2, right drop 2, bam. This right assembled gun ingot goes there, and this panel container goes there. Okay. All right, so with all of that done, now I can do this, right 2 chain panel animator. I keep saying animator weird. Keep saying animator weird. Right sway 2. Right drop 2. Delete all these just so I can make sure that I've got the right ones. Dang it. Okay, and then this right chain panel animator component, let's just delete those. Here. All right. So the left, this is coming in with a play-in delay of 0.2. Let's make this one 0.3. This is going to be 0.4, and we'll do 0.5 here. Okay, so if I run this, everything should work as expected. My channel showcases game dev and niche indie games. I buy games under $10 to play and accept keys for pricier ones. Want to highlight fun indie games that deserve more feedback. Very nice. Maybe I should reach out to you then. We'll see. If I don't send you an email, please don't be offended, but I'm gonna check you out. Does the C# version of allow for debug flags? You know, if debug something and if... I am not sure. What are those called? Like preprocessors or something? Is that right? I don't know if that's right. Just on the difference between .NET builds. I mean, anything that's normal in C# is supported, so I just don't know what's available out of the box in that sense. Okay, cool. So this is all working. So then I'm going to take these node. This is going to be so confusing. Animator 2 is equal to... I would not normally name my variables this way, but at this point, I just want to get it working. Do I have a delay here? Yeah, 0.1. I have no clue if this is going to work, but let's see. I should see everything animate out now. Can't speak for gaming YouTubers, but as for me, generally care about gaming and want quality games to dominate the market. Yeah, I mean, I think that's oops, why is that not working? I think that's admirable. I think, yeah, probably, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with charging to play games, especially if you're a bigger channel and you get like hundreds of requests, like there's no way you can possibly choose them all. Obviously you could just go through the emails and figure out which one's the best, but I feel like paying for advertisement can also be a good proxy for which games are likely to be higher quality, right? Because a game that's just kind of like shovelware is not going to spend $500 for a single video, whereas a game that had a lot of effort put into it with the intention of being commercially successful is probably more likely to have the marketing budget to pay for that, right? So obviously it's not perfect, but you know, these things can act as proxies for determining, like narrowing down the list of like which games are actually worth, like you said, which games are actually high quality. Hello, Exit. Just wanted to stop by and thank you for rekindling my interest in game dev because of your vids. Still a lot to learn, but I trust the process. Thank you. I'm happy that I played that role, and yeah, good luck with your game dev. I think yeah, it's tough, but you can definitely get better at it for sure. I don't care if my game is commercially successful. I just want to release a good game. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's I think that should be your primary goal. Oh, I want to set animator 2. Like there are some game devs that I've seen that I've seen like they're very focused on making something that fits the market, and they're focused on making something that's going to maximize sales and everything, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know if I'd enjoy game dev as much if I was just making a game for the market, or if that was my primary goal, you know? But I might have to do that if I want to keep making money. I mean, there's a reason why people do that. Okay, that looks much better. Yeah, so that looks much more fluid. All the different parts are animated instead of just being one block. So I definitely like that. Make a farming game. Honestly, I can't stand them. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like, I mean, I used to like farming games, all kinds of farming games. I even liked the farming in DayZ. If anyone, Adaton remembers the DayZ days. Okay. Improve animation of dual part selection UI. I remember getting poisoned by everything I ate in DayZ. Yeah, DayZ was so fun. There was one time we were, I think you might have been there, Adaton, but there was one time where we found a new spawn. We were all pretty geared, and we found a new spawn, and we made him fight other new spawns on top of a water tower. And I don't remember how it happened exactly, but I think somebody accidentally force-fed him bleach or something, and then he just slowly died. But we ended up liking our new spawn fighter champion so much that we actually helped him win fights. When he started to lose fights, we would just step in and like shoot the other person. It was so fun. Oh man. Stardew Valley is great, but the clones that followed, not so much. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always like, even for genres that I don't particularly enjoy, there's always like an exception, right? There's always like a standout game that is just super fun, even if you don't typically like the genre. Okay, anyway, let's do this one now. The gun scrambler has a 50% chance to give you a completed weapon set, so this is going to be a madness upgrade. So let's go ahead and create that. So a meta upgrade, create new resource. Meta upgrade resource. We're gonna call it gun scrambler set. What are we gonna call this? Create a complete gun with the set bonus. Now to create a... I don't know if that's right words to use here, but required madness tier. Two. Already got one for 3. So maybe I'll make it 4. Display name. I don't know what to call this. I remember that. Yeah, that was funny. I haven't played that many Stardew clones, but a lot of games don't deviate very much from their source inspiration. Yeah. Nintendo Direct event. I was hoping for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on the Switch, but instead we got an endless stream of farming games. Oh, I think I remember that. That was several years ago, wasn't it? Display name. Display name. What do we want to call this? I don't know what to call this. Whatever. So we've got our madness set. Let's go to the meta upgrade or upgrade tree screen. What is this? Gun scrambler set. Drag that over. Okay, then I gotta go and go to my meta upgrade ID. Here, public const string gun scrambler set. Gun scrambler set. Cool. Meta upgrade tree. Gun scrambler multiple uses. Okay, let's run this and make sure that that works. And then I need to make an icon for it, but I also need to do the logic to make it work. So there we go. So we've got this. I don't know what to call it. Gun Scrambler has a 50% chance to create a gun with a completed set bonus. That actually sounds better than I initially thought it did. All right, so let's actually do the logic for this now. So if I go to my Gun Scrambler, what I'm gonna do in here is, so let's do this. String prefix ID. I don't think I need to do null, do I? Okay, string prefix ID. Let's do this. Yeah. If save manager dot has meta upgrade ID dot gun scrambler set and matthewtill dot rng dot randf range is less than or equal to 0.5. So there's our 50% chance there. Oh, randf. And gun scrambler set is, yeah, so if it has that update, we're gonna say update. We're gonna say var random part is equal to gun registry. Actually, let me think. Oops. Let's put this up here. Wave rewards manager dot pick. Do I want to just do this? Loot manager pick gun part. Biased gun part loot table. I don't want it to be biased necessarily. I'm just going to do this very straightforwardly. Var random part ID is equal to gun registry dot all IDs. Is this an array? All IDs, matthewtill dot, am I doing this somewhere else? I think I am. Yeah, well, actually, no, I can't do that. I can't do this. This is not safe because that could potentially give you some parts that you don't have unlocked yet. Okay, so I am going to need to do wave rewards manager. These are all biased loot tables though, and I don't necessarily want the loot table to be biased in this case. I mean, I might as well. I don't need to make it more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, so we'll just pick a random receiver, I guess. Wave rewards manager dot pick gun receiver. So it's just going to pick a random receiver from this wave rewards manager. And then what it's going to do is it's going to say prefix ID is equal to, this is actually a part, random part dot prefix ID. ID prefix here. And then in here, we're going to pass in that ID prefix. Prefix ID. So that's how I determine which are all thematically the same, is this prefix will be the same. And so that should pass that along into, yeah, into this pick gun barrel here. Gun barrel, yep, okay. Cool, so it's, yeah, if it has the gun scrambler set, and so I'm gonna go ahead and just true for testing purposes. And then I need to go back to my random encounter handler component here. Turn up this gun scrambler. And go back to the dungeon level. Do I keep unintentionally, yeah, turning this off? So now I should have a 50% chance of getting a set bonus gun from the gun scrambler. This prefix ID, yeah, that should be fine. Whoa. All right, let's see what happens. Boom. Okay, no prefix or no set bonus there. Ooh, got the rune slots though is 0. What the heck, man? Let's do the right one. Ooh, sniper set with 2 rune slots. Very nice. I'm just gonna test this a little bit more here. Hello, Snupbill. Thank you so much for the IDR 10,000 with the classic message yummers. Thank you, thank you. It's very generous. Very much appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Always good to see you. This is disturbing. The interesting thing about this, just as a side note, ooh, that's wrong. Why is that not working? Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it necessarily. I wonder if there's a maximum size on that for some reason. But, the leg is coming out. The nice thing, or the interesting thing about the oil barrel is that it, the magazine's on the top of the gun. So, like, you just get the frog leg. Look at that. Go, frogs! Okay, but that's not the set bonus I'm looking for. Nope. Ooh, 2 moss guns. Nice. Lucky Find might be a suitable name for the trait. Oh, yeah. Yeah, something like that. Lucky something. I don't know why I'm choosing passives here. I'm trying to upgrade some stuff. Ooh, Necromancer set gun with only... I want to see something generate, like, a whole bunch of rune slots. There's another oil. 6, there we go. Look at that. Boom. 6 rune slots off of that generation. Yeah, this... Oh, I got the moss gun again. What? I got the moss gun again. Make sure there's no errors. Yeah, there's no errors in the console. Okay, we're gonna get rid of this moss gun. I'm pretty confident. Oh, another oil barrel. I think that heavy biasing is playing a factor in this. Ooh. Wow, this set bonus is happening quite frequently, but I don't think that's necessarily a problem. It's still going to be a difficult decision whether you want to completely scramble your gun or not. So I don't think it's that big of a deal if it's... I mean, I want these upgrades to feel powerful, right? So having a 50% chance to get a set gun makes this very appealing, which is good. I'm trying to make the gun scrambler more appealing because it's a little bit underutilized. Look at the oil barrel again. I might need to change that heavy biasing. The problem is that it's favoring the oil because you already have oil, but maybe it's not that big of a deal. I don't think I need to go all out on making the code work for that. Look at these freaking frogs. Go! Oh! Look at them go, they're so cute! I have the dash reload, so it increases my fire rate. Look at that. Plague of frogs. They're so cute. And they just die when they hit the wall. I'm starting not to like the shading on this frog here. That's a random kind of tangent, but I might change that. I don't like, it's too green. Let's see. Get rid of this true. Meta upgrade tree, yes. Upgrade ID, yes. Okay. I don't know, that's kind of a useless change, but that's all right. We don't want to change that. Upgrade tree screen should go in there. Dungeon arena, and of course we want that gun scrambler set. Oh, I need to come up with a name for it. Lucky, call it Lucky Roll. How's that? Because it's like a dice or a die right there. Lucky Roll. Okay. Add gun scrambler madness meta upgrade. All right. Well, so there's a couple of things we could do now. I do want to change the shading, of that gun. But while I'm doing the shading, I guess what I would ask the chat is, what other kind of meta upgrades would you like to see that are tied to madness tiers? So again, the context of what I'm doing right now is I'm filling out the upgrade tree with some more upgrades, which are gated behind certain madness tiers. And madness, again, is the end game system. It goes up to tier 10. So if you beat the game normally, you unlock madness tier 1. If you beat the game on madness tier 1, you unlock madness tier 2, so on and so forth. And the idea is that in order for the player to have something to continue to work towards and spend their money on, I'm adding these meta upgrades that are madness related. So here's the ones I've added so far. So you can get another gun part option after each wave. There's a default one you can get here normally, but then you can add an additional one through the meta or the madness level. You can increase your rune slot inventory through this madness upgrade here. The one that we just did here, Lucky Roll, the gun scrambler has a 50% chance to create a gun with a completed set bonus. So that's unlocked at madness tier 4. This one here, the shopkeep is guaranteed to offer gun parts necessary to complete a set bonus that requires madness tier 3. And this one, which is funny, Necromancer, I hardly know her. Once per run after taking lethal damage, you will be revived and your max health will be set to 1. So that is required madness tier 5. So if anyone in the chat has any ideas about madness upgrades in this kind of style that you'd like to see in the game, I'm open to suggestions because I am currently out of ideas. So if you want to send me your ideas, they can be related to anything existing in the game. They can be brand new. I was thinking something interesting might be like add a chance for treasure goblins to spawn, maybe as an offshoot of this banker one. I was originally going to make like a whole madness tree, but I found out that was going to be rather difficult, so I'm making these madness upgrades just kind of like augments of existing ones, but it doesn't have to be that way. They can be totally new as well. So yeah, any ideas are greatly appreciated, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with reshading this gun because I don't like it. Hello, MyCoonDev. Welcome back. Good morning, Christopher. What did I miss? I think I just covered mostly what's going on here. Hello, Marcos. Welcome back. Great to see you. You know what? Before I get started on coloring this up or reshading this, I'm actually at a little bit past the 1 hour mark here, so I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. So please check out the links in the description below. The most important thing to do is wishlist Gunforge if you're interested in it. You can also check out my Udemy courses. Those are linked below as well. Those will teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. So yeah, give me a couple minutes. I'm going to get a refill of my drink and so on and so forth. And when I come back, we'll continue just developing whatever needs to be developed. Okay, I'm back. Thank you, your patience. 11 days to release, yes indeed. Welcome back, Luca. Always great to see you. That's a weird thing to say, always great to see you. I'm not seeing anything except your username. But anyway. Let's see. Barrel. So I think the thing that's bothering me most is that this is just so monochrome. It's lacking a lot of visual interest. So I think what I want to do is I think I'm just gonna try to use a different color for the shading here. The problem is the green color isn't really that attractive, generally speaking. So what I might do is I might actually use maybe a blue. Blue. Yeah, I'm just gonna play around with these colors a little bit. That's obviously not gonna work. So maybe like a, yeah, kind of like this. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how it works. Obviously I need to just see how this looks everywhere. Well, this looks more like a poison dart frog now, which is not actually that bad of a thing to look like. But I'm not sure that I like this color either now. Would be interesting actually to make the frog a poison dart frog kind of color scheme. I actually kind of really like that idea. Part of the problem too is that the guns aren't outlined, so I have a hard time seeing what the contrast is like. I don't think that purple goes. Maybe the green and the blue was fine. If I look at the outline here. Yeah, it looks kind of like more of an exotic frog here. Let's do the magazine. I think that looks a little bit better. I don't know, this shading up here is kind of weird. I mean, what does it look like if I were to add outlines to everything? Just so I can get an idea. Whoops, wrong one. I think it's almost there. I still don't like this color. I like the new color scheme here. I just don't like this color in particular. I wonder if I used a darker purple, or I could even use, no, that wouldn't work. Maybe this one? I wish it was easier to see. Duplicate. Can I not duplicate all of these together? Dang it. Well, I can just do this then. Flatten visible, do this. I don't know, how do you feel about that color scheme? Is that better? It's certainly more vibrant. That's for sure. Maybe this blue now. Maybe I should keep it more green. I probably shouldn't be doing this flattened. Oops. Maybe this blue here could change a little bit. That might be better. Oops. Now this looks a little too dark. Oh. Oh, goodness. What's this here? Did I totally miss this? Hmm. Just gotta find the right color here. That might work. Yeah, that looks much more vibrant to me. I like that color. Okay, what color was that? Wait a minute. Okay, I got it. And of course I need to change the bullets now as well. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. I need to do all this now. Well, let me see how it looks in game first. File, scripts, export layers. Yeah, I think the old frog was just so bland. Gun frog left. Oh yeah, that's so much better. Look at how much more vibrant that looks like. Or that looks. Mm-hmm. I don't have a whole lot of guns or anything really in the game that use that blue color either. So that's nice. There are definitely colors that I favor in this color palette other than, or aside, what am I trying to say? Who knows? I'll quit while I'm ahead. Okay. Okay. Change those to green as well. Okay. Got a cuter little frog here. I can't really fit a mouth right there though. It's kind of unfortunate. Oh well, that's fine. Okay. So how do I do this? Wait, head alt. Okay. I forgot. How do I actually save this? Oh, I'm not cropping it at all, I don't think. Okay. So I just save this as bullet, like so. And then the leg jumping back. Leg jumping back, leg jumping. Right, okay. I think that makes sense. I wonder if I should use blue here. Yeah, that'll work. What did I call this? Bullet alternate. Okay. Bullet alternate. Cool. So if I export that, now if I go back into the game, after that re-imports, of course. Now those bullets should be much better as well. Sweet. Okay, I think that was a useful upgrade. Those are so much better looking. Cool. All right, so update frog. Frog gun art. All right, let's take a look at what we got in the backlog here. So I don't have any more ideas for any madness upgrades, so I'm going to work on this one then. Improve Thunderstorm passive, sound, and visuals. So one of the problems is this Thunderstorm passive is a little bit underwhelming. It looks great, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. So the Thunderstorm passive, it's a little bit underwhelming. So where's the Thunderstorm? So the Thunderstorm passive is, after killing X amount of enemies affected by shock, create a Thunderstorm dealing 300% DPS. So first of all, I don't think that that's strong enough. So I'm going to bump that up to 500%. And because Thunderstorm is really not that attractive. And what I also want to do, Thunderstorm passive DPS damage, change that to 5. And this is all, yeah, this is all. So the weird thing is it's based on total damage. So I might reword this actually, but let me think for a second. Let me think. I'm going to change this. Target zaps or current kill count. Target kill threshold. Where's that being set? Oh, here. Target kill threshold is equal to 1. Okay, so I'm going to just try this out real quick. What I want to do is this zap here, wherever the zap is created. I'm just going to try this. I don't think it's going to work, but zap.scale is equal to vector2.1 times 3. I'm just going to beef it up to be quite a large size. The idea that I want to try is just making the zap a lot bigger. And then I want to give it like some actual thunderstorm sound effects, and like I want to make it feel really impactful. Which plugin do you use for Kanban boards in Obsidian? It's a community, or it's, I think it's just called Kanban. It's in the community sort of plugin, yeah, community browser, plugin browser thing. Okay, so I've got the passive thunderstorm, gun, lightning left. Okay. Spawn rat. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that work? Okay, maybe I need to go into the game. Love the song that's playing in the BG right now. It's a jam. Oh yeah, it is. It is kind of a jam, isn't it? Why isn't this working? Oh, I didn't add the Thunderstorm passive. Did I do something wrong here? I guess I did. Oh, I've got some debugger errors. Maybe I should check up on those. Error loading resource. Oh, that's, yeah, that's fine. So what in the heck? On entity died. Entity died event. I'm actually going to change this real quick. Might as well pass along a reference to the health component, so that way I don't need to do this lookup. Oh, mathf.max 10. Why did I put that in here? I guess I was just being overly cautious. That might have been in place before I had max stacks in place. Yeah, I think so. I was basically saying I'm taking the minimum or the maximum of the target kill threshold and 10, and so it was being set to 10. That's why it wasn't working. So now I should be able to just kill one enemy here. Gun, lightning left, thunderstorm. Ooh. I wonder if just scaling those up is enough. Rat, gun, lightning left. Obviously I should increase the area too. I want to make them come in at an angle as well. I honestly don't know how I'm going to do that though. Vector 2 incoming direction maybe? Vector 2 dot down. Incoming direction. Oh, I can't do that. So if I set my incoming direction, so vector 2, vector 2.1. I want to make it look like it's coming in from the side. I just don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. But we'll find out. Ooh. I might actually, let's see. Okay, so rather than setting the scale, I mean, that's kind of working. Set width. Set line width. Let me go to my zap and see what's going on in here. No, I don't want to open that. I want to open the scene, thank you. Width is 4 pixels. Secondary line 2D is 2 pixels, so int primary, int secondary line, so I'll do line 2D dot width is equal to primary, line 2D dot, secondary line 2D dot width is equal to secondary. Zap dot set width, set line width. Let's do 8 and then 3. So that should make it thicker. I have to be very careful with this zap because it's used in other places. So I have to be sure I can't just like remake the zap because then that's gonna create some problems for me. So I'm trying to do just like incremental minor changes that I'm relatively confident are not going to affect the other places where the zap is used. But I don't want to make like a new scene for the Thunderstorm. I'd like to be able to use this scene if I can. But you know, I might end up having to create something new, but let's see. Yeah, there's like some artifacts happening there. I wonder why that's happening. Interesting. Oh, am I still setting the scale somewhere? I don't think so. Am I still setting the scale? Why is that happening? Oh boy, I have no clue what this is doing, so we'll just leave that alone for now. Total length equals length. Target end position, rotation. Yeah. Why are those artifacts appearing? That might be a wrench in my plans. Let's get rid of this. Let's do vector2.down here, and let's change the length to 256. I just want to see what's actually, maybe it's just because of the way it's rotated. These line 2Ds are kind of, they can be a little bit iffy in Godot, so I wonder if it's just kind of like a rendering artifact. We'll see. For this get player, does that scan the tree or do you provide a reference to it? It, all that does is it goes to the tree and it looks for the node that is in the player group and then it casts it as a player object. There is a common misconception, particularly among people who are new to Godot, that if you do getTree.getNodeInGroup, that scans the entire scene tree and looks for the node in that group. And that's actually not the case. When you add a node to a group in Godot, it's actually stored as a hash map under the hood or a dictionary, which means that the lookup is basically as fast as it can possibly be. I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Like it's a dictionary lookup. So when you say get tree, get node in group, Godot is already storing that information. It's not scanning the tree for anything. So yeah. So basically, yeah, it's just getting the node at the group. And I like that. And the reason why, yeah, you should definitely look into groups. The reason I don't like storing long-lived references to nodes in my classes, and the reason why I don't do that is because the scene tree is a very dynamic thing. There are things being moved around the scene tree all the time. Things are entering and exiting the scene tree. And if you're storing long-lived references in your script to certain nodes, just from my experience when I was starting out with Godot, I would often run into problems where like I get null reference errors because my reference to a particular node was stale. And that can create a lot of headaches because now you're trying to synchronize a reference to a node with the state of the scene tree. And that just introduces the possibility of error, right? You can avoid that largely or almost entirely with the group system. Because the nice thing about this is I can say I want to get a reference to the player, and Godot will then go and look for the node that is in the player group. And the nice thing is that is automatically kept up to date by Godot. So if the node with the group name player ever leaves the scene tree, and then the next time I call get the player group, null will be returned. Like no nodes are going to be returned because that player is not in the tree anymore. And as soon as the player re-enters the tree, boom, that node is now available in that node group player. So it's guaranteed to be up to date, the group is, with the state of the scene tree. And so instead of storing a long-lived reference to the player, I just go to the scene tree every time and say, give me the player in the player group, right? And granted, I'm doing a lot of redundant lookups on a frame-by-frame basis because I'm calling this.getPlayer all over the place. But the thing is, I'm doing that redundant lookup to avoid having to store a long-lived reference, which again can be brittle. So that's a good way of using groups, in my opinion. And I just treat groups as like IDs, right? So like a group implies that there's multiple members of the group, but for something like a player, I just have it in the player group and then that's guaranteed to be unique. And actually what I'm doing is I'm using, in a lot of cases, I'm using the name, like the fully qualified name of the C# script as the group name. So if I add the rat to the rat group or whatever, then it's being like added to the group name game.gameObject.entity.rat, right? So it's fully qualified. So even if I had another class that's also called rat, it's if I had two classes called rat, they have to be in different namespaces. And if I'm using the fully qualified name with the namespaces, then I'm guaranteed that those things are going to be in unique groups, right? So basically what I'm doing in a lot of cases with my groups is I'm making the group name sort of like a one-to-one mapping of the class, the exact class. So it sort of becomes an identifier. And that's nice because then when I say get all of the rats in the rat group, I can cast those to the type of rat and be guaranteed that there's not going to be any cast errors in there because I'm guaranteed that in that group there are only rats that have this type, right? So that's kind of how I approach groups, at least with C#. It's a little bit different when you're talking about GDScript in some cases, but because you can use duck typing and whatnot in GDScript. So, but that's just a little bit of a overview on how I'm using groups and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and the nice thing is too, like if you're familiar with programming, you don't even need to necessarily know C++ that well. I don't know C++ that well, but I had that question one day. I was like, how do the groups actually work? So I just went into the relevant code in the Godot engine source code, and I found out I was able to discern pretty easily that, oh, it's using a hash map. So I don't need to do any, that's the only question I wanted answered. I didn't necessarily need to know like when the hash map was updated or anything. So what you're saying about the scene tree is true. Yeah, I think so. That's so good. I've been using a root node for groups, but this actual group sounds significantly better. Yeah, it can be. Like most things, like there's a way to misuse it such that it actually becomes much more of a headache. But the way that I've just described, the way that I'm using it is very efficient and very sensible, in my opinion, and it's not prone to error really, because I'm using them very carefully. I've thought about how I could better manipulate the scene tree through code, so I can load scenes more efficiently. Yeah, I mean, there's manipulating the scene tree as a whole. I kind of went on a rant a while ago about especially multi-threaded stuff just doesn't work that well in Godot. I was trying to make, I think I said this at one point, but I was trying to make a Terraria clone at one point, and I just could not use the built-in Godot functionality to do it, like tile maps and whatnot. I couldn't use multi-threading that well. It just wasn't working. Now, this was a while ago, so the situation might be a little bit better, but yeah, kind of doing really sophisticated manipulations of the scene tree is a little bit difficult. Okay, so these are not working. I'll rename this to base length. And then in here, private float total length. This dot total length is equal to total length. Okay, and then this has to be total length here. Where is setup line being called in the process method? Okay. Okay. I'm not entirely sure. Segments. Where's my amplitude? Yeah, I'm gonna call public void set amplitude. So if I go in here, I want to do zap. Let's do these first. Set amplitude. Let's do 32 to give it a little bit more variability. Vector 2 dot down. Okay. So I'm just trying to make these minimal changes that are going to allow me to create a bigger lightning bolt for the Thunderstorm passive. And then I'm going to do hopefully some visuals. I would love to make it more targeted so it feels more useful too. So add passive Thunderstorm. Lightning left, rat. Yeah, that looks a lot nicer. The problem is it doesn't really look like lightning, does it? It looked like lightning enough when it was smaller, but now it's like it kind of demands something a little bit more sophisticated for the lightning here. Let's see. Noise interpolator component. Get sample. What happens if I turn this way down? Might need to have more segments in there too. I have to be very careful with this though, because it could end up not being great. Does the initial point doesn't need to be I think I can just do that. That might give it an immediate sense of better, better lightning. What do you think about unit testing and game dev? I don't personally find unit testing that valuable when I'm working by myself, almost ever. If I had like a really critical component that I needed to make sure was working, I might consider unit testing just that logical piece. But rather than, and I have some places in the code where that's important, like my gun part randomizer here, which is responsible for basically randomizing the gun stats, and that's like a huge chunk of the game. But so this would be a good candidate for unit testing, to run like large amounts of simulations through it and make sure that I'm getting the kind of distribution that I'm going for. But rather than introduce a unit testing framework for all of that, I just wrote methods and logged a bunch of data, and I just manually checked it to make sure just to make sure it's sensible. And so that's the thing. It's like, usually there's only like 1 or 2 critical things in my games that need to absolutely work. And I just give those a little bit of extra manual attention rather than introducing a unit testing framework. And I just don't think that unit testing is that valuable, like for personal projects. Now that changes. I mean, it changes depending on the size of the project. It changes depending on how many people are working on the project. Because one of the values of unit testing is that it kind of solidifies what we would call in software engineering as like the business requirements, right? It's kind of like an explicit declaration of this is how the code is supposed to work. That's the real value of it, right? So that when a new developer comes along and says, why is this function doing this? If it's not documented, that will be kind of implicitly answered in the unit test, right? If the unit test is written well. So anyway, all that's to say, unit testing is a tool like anything else. If it works for you personally, if it gives you better confidence in your code, then you should definitely use it, consider using it. For me, I find that it slows down development too much to be useful for my case, for my purposes. Okay. Why does this look terrible? I think I need more segments. I might need more segments. I'm just gonna try this. What happens if I turn these segments up to 16? I'm trying to get a lightning shape, but that's not really working that well. It's not a problem with the smaller zaps, but if I'm trying to do a larger zap, I want it to look like lightning, you know? I wonder if the secondary line is causing problems. And passive thunderstorm. I'm gonna get rid of that secondary line, actually. Get rid of this secondary line 2D. Unit tests are great, but if you're constantly changing things, it's not worth it. Once you have something solid, unit tests can follow if needed. Yeah, I think that's a good point as well. Thank you, Mycoon Dev, for the €1. Very much appreciate that. Very generous. Thank you, thank you. Maybe the amplitude just isn't big enough. Do I just need to jack this amplitude up like a lot? Let's try 128. Jack that amplitude up, you know? Okay, well that's not quite as good. I did change the noise interpolator component. I don't know why I'm multiplying this here. Get sample Oh, I see. I'm spacing it out. I see. What happens if I just passed I into here? Okay. I don't know. We're just gonna keep testing this until I get to something. I might totally redo how this lightning is actually working, do some research online and see how I can actually create a nice looking lightning bolt. I don't think they look bad like when they're small, but that just doesn't look like a lightning bolt at all. The problem is that I think it's swinging too wildly. What happens if I just like really turn this down? And this noise interpolator component here. Simplex smooth. Let's do Perlin. Probably shouldn't mess with it too much. Fractal Brownian motion. I wish there was a way. Can I make this like more long-lived? On zap finished. Maybe I'll just get rid of this on zap finished so I can just watch it a little bit. So it'll just never finish. And I can just observe. Okay. I can't tell if it's going too fast or too slow. Let's turn this down. I don't think I actually need to do the thunder. I can just add my lightning. Okay. So first of all, why is that so thick all of a sudden? Anyway. They look like little noodles. Okay, so... yeah, so let me go back down here. Change this back to 50 times I. I'm just going to retweak everything until it gets to a point where it looks good. It still has to meet at a certain point. Oops. Is that really how thick the normal one is? Okay, let's turn this down. Dancing noodles. Looks like a car dealership has a promo, yeah. Wait a minute. Dude, if I had a wacky inflatable arm man in this game, that would actually be hilarious. I would wonder, it would have to be some kind of like passive or something, I guess. Wacky inflatable arm man would be pretty good, yeah. I wonder, it could be like an enemy type. I mean, I don't really have a way of... I mean, I could add another enemy somewhere, but... okay, what the heck? Turn the frequency down and the default amplitude up, maybe? Could be a dummy alternative. That would be funny. That would be really funny. I'm thinking some kind of passive or maybe even some kind of gun. I have to think about that. That's actually that would be a really funny thing to add. That doesn't look terrible. I'm going to turn this default amplitude up. Put this on zap finished back. And you know what I might do is I might, this secondary line 2D, I don't like that it's doing what the opposite of the normal line is anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say secondary point is equal to point here. Yeah. So we'll just give it like a white core instead of like a white alternate sort of thing coming out of it. The other problem, I guess, is that there's not really any branching. It's just a single bolt. So that's kind of maybe why it doesn't look that great, but let's see. That looks much more elegant to me. It still has that feeling of, oops, blasted him away with the wrong gun. Yeah, I think that looks decent, actually. Goodness, I didn't have any ammo to kill him. That scale out is looking a little bit weird. Let's have that. Give it like a frame or two of transition out. I mean, ideally, like it would just kind of fade out, right? But I don't have a concept of like opacity in this game really, except for lights. Also, how is it actually growing? Length. The thing that's weird about it is that all the points are getting compressed and the length, so it looks like an accordion coming out when it comes down, which is not how lightning works, right? Lightning actually travels and connects to the point. It doesn't accordion downward. So if I could avoid accordioning it downward, then that could help. Segment offset. How would I do that? Let me think. What might help is if I reverse this. So I'm predetermining how many segments there are, but what I probably should be doing is setting what the distance between each segment is. So that on larger lightning bolts, it will just naturally have more segments. So if I do distance, let me just stage what I've got here. Distance between segments. Let's do float. Now this is going to have to change because in here, var segments is equal to length. Let's do mathf dot seal to int length divided by distance between segments. And then we have our segment offset, so we don't need to worry about that. Segments here. Does that work? That's probably not going to work. I'm sure I'm just completely clobbered that, but let's find out. I don't think I did. Ooh, that looks good. Yeah, so instead of accordioning downward, it's originating from a point which you can see, and it's following a natural path down. Ooh, that looks good. That looks a lot less busy and a lot more natural. Ooh, okay. What does the thunderstorm look like? Dang it. Wow. I think that looks pretty good. That certainly looks more impactful. So if I go to my thunderstorm now, and this... Oh, this is setting a radius for me in here. Oh, set pre-start callback. Explosion created. Oh, I can do it here. Circle explosion dot set radius. Wait. Oh no. Pre-start callback. Do I want to do a pre-build callback? If I do this, wait. Pre-start callback. Why do I have a pre-start callback? Shouldn't it just be a pre-build callback? Set damage. This would be a lot better if I did a pre-build callback. Okay, this might, let's see, dot explosion created. Yeah. I might have to do both. Hold on. Let me think about this. Well, I'll just do a pre-build call. I don't need to change everywhere else. What I'll do, though, is I will do this. Public circle explosion builder set pre-build callback. Action circle explosion builder pre-build callback. This dot pre-build callback equals pre-build callback. Return this. Okay, so in this build, we're going to say pre-build callback dot invoke this. Okay, and then in the thunderstorm passive, we're going to do... Wait, did I just do this wrong? This is so messy. Public delegate void. Oh, shoot. I can't send this in a signal either. Gee, dang it. I guess what I could do is just pass this through. Public void set pre-build callback. This is so messy. That's all right. That lightning looks excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's much better than it was. I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna see what happens when I make that circle explosion a lot bigger now. Circle explosion builder. Gosh, this is awful. This is so bad. It's fine. Okay, so in here, zap.set pre-build callback. Put this over here, okay. Builder We'll set the damage at the builder level now. And then builder dot set radius to what? Let's try 64. Now the problem is that I think it's creating a separate radius here. Okay. Actually, you know what? I probably should have just done this. Private float. I didn't even... Oh, wait. Yeah. Let's get rid of this. Private float radius equals 64. Oh, wait. Yeah, private float secondary... Or no, we don't need to do that. So all of this was for naught because I could have just done this the whole time. Brain fart, I suppose. That's fine. You live and you learn. You live and you learn. We'll get rid of that pre-build callback. It could be useful, that pre-build callback in the future, but I don't typically like to leave things in place that aren't being actively used, because then they just decay, and one day you'll try to use it and it won't work, and you'll be like, why? Because it wasn't in active use, and a bunch of code got built around it and rendered it obsolete without you knowing. So we'll just go back to the way we were, but I'll do zap.setRadius here to float radius. Okay. So that was a fun little roundabout way of getting there, but we got there. Ooh. That feels so much more impactful. So now I want to change the targeting of it, I think. Do I want to change the targeting of it? Dungeon Arena. Let me just go see what this looks like. Obviously, it wouldn't be proccing this much, but how does that targeting code actually work? Spawn zap, set amplitude. I'm going to change this to 128, make it a little bit shorter. I still want to try this vector 2.1 here. Let's see. Explosion created, target saps. So it's choosing a target position, direction. Where's the direction? Ran direction times math util. Oh, so it's just a random range around the player, I think. Range, zap. Position, global position, plus direction. Okay. It's doing a terrain raycast. Okay. Now this DPS percent, I don't like that it's dividing it over the total number of zaps. And I'm probably going to knock this down as well. So we'll do the number of zaps. Let's do DPS damage. What does my burning meteor do? This one does... How much damage does it do? I guess I could just read it, but I was expecting it to be easier to find. DPS. Oh. Oh, it just does 100% damage per second? That's crazy. That's crazy. It's 100% DPS, wow. Well, who am I to question it? I might... Because the thing about the meteor, the burning meteor, which I really like, is that it's based on the number of stacks of burning you apply. So if you get like pants on fire and you're just staying near enemies and you just continue applying these stacks, the meteors will keep getting called down. And so that makes it a little bit easier than the lightning version of this, which is that you have to kill enemies affected by shock and not just apply the stacks. So it takes quite a bit longer to trigger the Thunderstorm, which is fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to nerf this. I keep it at 30 stacks because the whole fun of this Burning Meteor Hell to Fire passive is that because the stacks that you need to apply are so low, you're just constantly calling down meteors, but I think 100% damage is a little bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that down to 50%. I'm going to do private const float damage percent. So we'll knock that down quite significantly. I do remember that being very powerful as well. But the thing about the Thunderstorm now is I'm going to make this one do 100% DPS. Create a Thunderstorm dealing of 10 bolts that each deal 100% DPS of your weakest gun. I hope that fits on the card. So that's a little bit, because before the number, it was like the total damage and then it was divided by whatever, you know, it's crazy. So this now, get rid of this, get rid of that. The Thunderstorm passive here, DPS damage. We're gonna get rid of this. Well, we'll just do damage percent is equal to 1. This here, just change it to that. Okay, I think that'll be better. So let's go back into the game and try that out. I do like these visuals a lot better. Lurkin, welcome. I mean, you've been here, right, Neozord? Or maybe you came back. In any case, thank you for continuing to lurk. We love our lurkers, don't we, folks? Oh, I forgot I changed the angle. I was like, what? I might increase the delay between each of those as well. So that timer, that Thunderstorm timer. I am right now, I guess, yeah. Yee. I'm just listening while I work, yeah. That's great. A lot of people working while lurking. Working while lurking. Lurkers rise up, yeah. Lurker was my middle name in high school. Somehow I highly doubt that. Oh, that's funny. Okay, anyway, let's go back in. Ooh, that feels much more impactful. Yeah, you just get like this thunderstorm coming down. And does this apply shock as well? I should have also have it apply shock, right? Why not? This game is all about being overpowered after all. Circle explosion dot hitbox component. Add statuses to apply. Status. Data.enum.status.shock. Oh, this has to be an array. Or an enumerable, I guess. Oh, I need to add the gun stats too. Yeah, might as well make it apply shock. Why not? Why not? You know, this game is not afraid to give you some things that are ridiculously overpowered, so we're just gonna stick with that. So now this should just be like an endless chain, assuming that it just keeps killing stuff. Obviously, I need to turn the threshold back up, though. I don't like those artifacts, though. That's making me very angry. So let's change the let's change the direction here. This vector 2.1. Let's do new vector 2. Let's do -0.2f and 1f dot normalized. I don't think I need to normalize it, but let's just see. I'm just trying to get rid of those artifacts, though. Lurking while learning Colmac DH. What is that? Hello, Kerpal, by the way. Yeah, there's just I don't know where these artifacts are coming from. Only when it's rotated. Why is that happening? I wonder if it's the scale. It might just be the scale, actually. Wait a minute. So because this scale is getting set here, I think it's just not rendering the scale correctly. So if I do tween.tween property, this visible, or no, let's just do tween.callback. Callable.from visible equals false. If I just turn off the visibility, then I think what I can do is this new vector 2, let's do -3. I don't need to normalize it. It's just looking at the angle, so. I think it was just not, it's just a rendering artifact because it's trying to render a 0 scale line, but it just has trouble with that for some reason. So if I set it to invisible after it scales out, I shouldn't see any artifacts. Oh, look at that. I think that's backwards for some reason. Whatever, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And I'm going to change this back to 256, or no, let's do 192. Just make it a little bit longer. Colmac DH is great once the learning curve is over. Keyboard layout. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I like the slight angle to it. That looks much better, generally speaking. Okay, so now I'm just going to get rid of this target kill threshold again. Now the question is, this can stack 3 times. I think that's too much. Let's make it stack twice and just, so the first stack will be 25 enemies killed by shock. The second stack will be 15 enemies killed by shock. Or killed with shock while affected by shock. That's going to be much nicer. That's a tweak that I've wanted to make for a while here, so. Target kill threshold is kill stack reduction times additional occurrences. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know I had that. Okay. So kill stack reduction is 10 now. Number of zaps, that's fine. Damage percent and range, that's all good. Okay. I have now tweaked a bunch of things. I should probably make sure that the burning meteor still feels good, so I'm not going to commit that just yet, but let's push this stuff. I got to add a sound effect for this still, but I'm not going to do that on the stream probably. Burning meteor. We'll keep those ones just on hold for a second. Okay, let me see what happens if I add 2 stacks of that Thunderstorm, make sure that that works properly. We're killing 15 enemies affected by shock, create a Thunderstorm of 10 bolts at each deal. Yeah, that's much nicer. That's much more in line. That was one of the first passives that I made, believe it or not, that Thunderstorm. So getting the getting those visuals in line and like bringing the passive design closer to... Ooh, why is that? Those are wrong. Did I mess up the shock status? I think that's supposed to be 32 by default. Oops. Good thing I'm testing these things. Let me just make sure that that's working. Yeah, okay, we're back to normal. Very good. Yeah, those lightning bolts look so much better. I'm liking it. How many kills do I have? 11, almost there. Ooh, there's the Thunderstorm. Yeah, if I just do like an actual thunder sound when that procs, I think that's going to be nice. Oh, add passive burning meteor. Burning meteor. Gun dragon right. I just want to make sure that this is still working as well. Yeah, I'm sure that'll still, it's still 50% DPS. That's quite a chunk of damage. It's just not 100% anymore. I just don't want the identities of the Thunderstorm passive and the Burning Meteor passive to conflict. Like, they shouldn't feel like the same thing, but just with different art, you know? So the Burning Meteor, it's based on fire stacks you apply. It does less damage. It only calls 1 down. It has a larger area. It calls down another meteor if it happens to kill something. And then the Thunderstorm is based on how many enemies affected by shock you kill. It calls down 10 bolts randomly, not on a specific target, and they each do 100% DPS. So I think that those are distinct enough in their themes and behavior to be interesting choices still. So yeah, I think that's just the number one like thing that I've learned game design wise when working on this game is like everything just has to have a very solid identity. Like if you have two things that are just too similar to each other, players are going to notice that and they're going to be like, there's not really much of a point in choosing one thing or the other. And obviously that's not good when you're trying to design a roguelike where choice is everything. So yeah, creating a very strong, unique identity for everything you create is very important. At least that's what I've learned. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how well those learnings hold up when Gunforge hits the market. Players might just be like, what the WTF is this? No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think people are going to like it, but you never know. Don't count your horses before they hatch. This is actually, I might want to do a build with fire and lightning now. Just get like that huge AoE coverage. Yeah, that might be fun. That might be fun. All right, I do like the burning meteor changes, so I'm gonna plop those in. Tweaks to Thunderstorm visuals. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's destage those. And behavior. We'll commit that as a separate commit. Burning meteor. I spelled meteor like as in meat, like flesh, which actually makes me think of something like if it was a meteor. Oh man. So wait, I gotta do something with the wacky inflatable arm guy and like a meteor. That would be so funny. Okay. Burning meteor balance, commit. Send all those. All right, so I still need to think of some more madness upgrades for the passive tree, but I'm pretty happy with everything that got changed here. Let me just make sure. Ooh, I did commit that on accident. I'm just going back through my history, making sure that I didn't commit any debug code. That would be bad to get into the full game. I don't think so. I think I'm all good. Yeah. Lurk, lurk. Cloudy with a chance of meteors. Yeah. That's funny. Okay. Improve. I still need to do the sound. So I need to find a thunder sound effects, but that should be fine. Okay, well, we're at almost 2.5 hours, so I went a little bit over my usual time, but it is lunchtime for me, so that's going to be it for the stream for today. Thank you all again for watching. I very much appreciate it. And especially, well, not especially, I keep saying especially. Thank you as well to the lurkers and VOD watchers out there. I know you're out there, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the content. Gunforged, again, releases on February 17th. It's going to be under $10. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by the pricing of it. So go ahead and wishlist it if it's the kind of game that you're interested in. You can also go ahead and purchase one of my Udemy courses where I teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. So definitely check those things out if you're interested. And also you can support my work by liking, subscribing, watching my other videos, and all of that good stuff. So definitely check out the links in the description below. I very much appreciate all your support, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Yes, 11 days, we're almost there. All right, thanks again, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m. Eastern.